Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us for the second part of our story. Let's jump right back in. When I got to the stairs, the girls were gone. I went up to Audrey's room, but it was empty. As I walked down the hall to Olivia's room, I could hear low voices inside. I knocked. Olivia asked me what I wanted. Can I come in? I asked her. She opened the door. Come in, Dad, she said. We thought maybe it was Mom. They had both obviously been crying. I sat down between them and wrapped both of them up in my arms. I'm so sorry you had to hear that, I told them. I didn't think you would believe me if you didn't hear it for yourselves. It's okay, Dad, Olivia said. It's not your fault. It's her fault. I didn't believe you. Well, I didn't think you would lie to us, but I thought maybe you'd misunderstood her. We know now. How could she do that to you? How could she do it to us? I don't know, baby, I told her. I don't have a freaking clue. She's not thinking straight. She's been listening to a bunch of bad people and their stuff at work. She's decided she's going to do it, and that's it. I've tried everything I could think of to talk her out of it. She doesn't care. Do you think she's sick? Audrey asked. I have no idea what makes her tick anymore, I said. I tried to get her to see a therapist. You heard me. I offered to go to marriage counseling. She's just not interested. What are we going to do? She asked. Nothing. Right now, I said. When she decides I've given up, she'll probably go on a date. When she does, we'll be ready. When she gets back, we'll be gone. I'll try to talk her out of it. I don't think she's going to listen. Are the two of you with me? Or do you want to stay with her? They looked at each other for a minute. No, Dad. We're going with you, Audrey said. My heart leaped. 19 years ending in disappointment. But here was the reason I was going to be okay. I wouldn't regret a single minute as long as I had my babies. Took almost 2 months. They were the weirdest 2 months of my life. Amanda and I hardly spoke. We were like roommates who didn't like each other very well. She slept in the spare bedroom, and I slept in what had been our room. I tried to talk to her, convince her of the madness she was on. We were weeding the garden one evening, and I broached the subject. Amanda, do you feel like this plan of yours is working out? Is our marriage getting stronger? There's all that hot sex you mentioned. Is this exciting, fulfilling? Is this what you thought was going to be so great? Is this what you had in mind? She looked over at me, and I saw the first hint of doubt in her eyes, quickly turned to anger. If you weren't being an asshole, it wouldn't be like this, she snapped. I don't want my wife planning to screw other people. She insists that she's going to do it, whether I like it or not. I'm being the asshole here. Yes, you are, she practically shouted. You won't even think about how great this could be for both of us. It doesn't have to be this way. You could just forget about your stubborn man pride, and everything would be perfect. Perfect for whom? I asked. Sure as hell isn't me. This is as bad as it could possibly be for me. You obviously don't give a shit about me. I love you so much more than you love me, she said bitterly. I love you enough to allow you your freedom, allow you to explore boundaries and keep your place in my heart. I don't see that as love, I told her. I happen to think it's selfishness. I love you enough not to exercise my freedom. I love you enough not to have sex with other people, explore any boundaries. If you really loved me, that's what you'd do. When did you stop loving me? Amanda? I didn't. She started crying. I love you more than ever. That's how I can allow this. My love for you is stronger than you'd ever believe. So love is you driving a stake in my heart. That's love to you, I asked. That's not what I'm doing. She was furious now. I'm going to the club with Bill White from work Friday night, she said. Sebra's going with us. Please, Corwin, come with us. Give it a shot. I promise you won't be disappointed. It will be the hottest thing we've ever done. I pretended to think it over for a minute. Okay, what the hell? You're going to do it anyway. I guess I might as well go along for the ride. She was across the garden in a flash, her arms around me and her body pressed against mine. Corwin, she stopped. God, thank you, sweetheart. I was going nuts. I didn't think you'd ever even consider it. You won't be sorry, baby. Promise. You'll never regret this. I was regretting it already, but this situation was intolerable. I couldn't go on like this. I wondered if C would help me. I decided to give her a call. As it turned out, she was mad as hell. She had no idea what was going on when Mandy asked her to go clubbing. She didn't know Bill White was going to be there, and she sure as hell didn't know she was being set up to be with me. At 3:04, she said when I told her, I'm calling her now and she's toast. See, do you trust me? I asked her. What the hell is that supposed to mean? She sputtered. I trusted that bitch wife of yours, too. See, calm down. I told her. I need your help. I know you're upset, but I really need you to help me. This is the dividing line. I'm leaving her. We'll be divorced as soon as possible. I'm ready, but I need your help. I'm gonna play along, and I need you to play with me. I could hear her breathing deeply into the phone. What you got in mind? She asked. I'm gonna pretend I'm down with all this, I told her. I'm gonna ask you to go home with me. All you have to do is pretend you want to. She laughed. How do I know this isn't some devious plan to get me in your house? I chuckled. It is, I told her. I need you to take the girls to my new place while I get our stuff out of the house. It brought out the wicked side in her, and she agreed that her vengeance could wait. I hadn't been aware that she had a vengeful side, but it was going to work for me. All that week, Amanda had sex with me like there was no tomorrow. Friday, there wouldn't be a tomorrow for us. She was wild, telling me over and over again how great this was going to be and how much I was going to love it. I tried one more time Friday morning before I left for work. Are you very sure about this, Amanda? There's still time. You can still call it off. Hasn't this week been great? With just us? Corwin, we've already been through all of that. If it turns out you don't like it, we can talk afterward. But I'm not changing my mind. She smiled at me. Yes, Corwin. This last week has been wonderful. I've loved it, and I love you. Tonight will be the best yet. You'll see. Thank you for doing this with me. You're going to love it, Corwin. I know you will. She danced her way out of the bedroom. She knew I was going to love this, right? I thought sourly. Let's get this day over with. Once he brought Zebra by the house on Friday evening, she was absolutely stunning. Amanda was cute, petite, and slender with a face that belonged on a teenager. Zebra was in a whole different league. She was tall and had one of those bubble butts you hear so much about but almost never see. Amanda was a bit flat back there. Zebra had on a short, tight red sheath dress with sequins all over it. She looked amazing. I was wearing a sport coat and black pants with a ribbed t-shirt under the coat. She looked me up and down when I let her in and grinned slyly at me. Now I know you're trying to get in my panties, she said. Well, yes, but not tonight, I said. This is all business. I'll have to wait for the panties. That's a shame, she said. I'm wearing a thong and I think you'd like it. Show me. I pulled her tight up against me, putting my hands on the hem of her dress and gradually easing it up her long, beautiful legs toward that amazing ass. Stop that. Amanda could come in any time, she whispered fiercely. Exactly, I said. We want her to think I'm playing her game. I continued to slide her dress up and over the firm contours of her ass. She giggled and tried to push my hands away, but I was relentless. Just as two of the most beautiful sights I'd ever seen popped into view, and I was about to give them a squeeze, Amanda walked in. She squealed and jerked her dress back down. Amanda just smiled. You two are getting an early start, I see. Save it until after we dance and then get a room. I've already got a room, I told her. How about you and Bill get the room? She smirked at us, grabbed her clutch, and we were off. Bill met us at the club. I don't think the evening started the way he'd expected. I shook his hand and crushed it. I've been powerlifting for years, and if you lift without straps, it gives you quite a grip. I could see him start to go weak in the knees, and I let him go. He wanted to whimper and nurse his hand, but his macho image wouldn't let him. He was one of those pretty boys. Say, Bill, you don't happen to be a hairdresser, do you? I asked him. He snorted. Hell no, he said. Those guys are all gay. Yeah, I know, I said. He looked like he might want to make something out of that, but his hand hurt too badly. You know who L. Ron Hubbard is? I asked him. Yes. How did you know? He asked. I've been a Scientologist for 6 years. I shrugged. Just testing a theory, I said. Zebra was about to choke. I'd mentioned my little theory to her before, and she was about to burst out laughing. Amanda, however, was beet red with fury. Maybe I'd shared too many private theories with her. Let's find a booth, she said, and stalked away with her back as stiff as a poker, Bill in her wake. As soon as they were 10 feet away, Zebra burst out laughing. I grabbed her arm, and we followed them with her wiping tears from her eyes. You're a mean man, Corwin, she gasped. Yeah. Well, this is a hell of a night, I told her. Compose yourself. See? Act like you're seducing me. She did a good job of it, too. I was halfway seduced by the time we got to the booth, watching that fantastic ass undulate in front of me. I decided I was fully seduced by the time I danced with her twice. She was doing everything but screwing me on the dance floor. Amanda was out doing her thing with Bill when we got back the second time. You ready for the big show? I asked Zebra. She looked up at me with those tilted-up eyes, a look that told me this wasn't all a game to her. Her eyes were huge and luminous brown, and I felt myself falling into them. Her full, luscious lips parted slightly, and her little pointed tongue came out to moisten them. I couldn't help myself. I had to taste her. It was everything I thought it would be and more. I heard a noise, and Amanda and Bill were sliding back into the booth. Oh no, I said in my best Saturday Night Live voice impression. Look who's back. Zebra got it, and so did Amanda, but Bill was oblivious. Don't do anything mean to him, sluggo, Zebra chuckled. Amanda swelled up like a pufferfish, and her smirk vanished. Zebra and I are gonna get out of here, I told them. You kids have fun now. Amanda walked us to the door. Are you sure you're okay? She asked. You were being kind of a dick back there. No, I'm not okay, I told her. Mandy, it's not too late. You had your fun. Just walk out of here right now with me. We'll go home and try to work things out. If you stay, this is for keeps. No, Corwin, she said. This is going to be so great for us. Just go and enjoy Zebra. It's going to be awesome. You'll see. Just try not to be such a dick. Okay? Yeah. Well, it's not my dick you're interested in, is it, Mandy? I said. We both know it's Bill's. Good luck with that. We're out. She grabbed my arm. This is going to be so great, Corwin. You'll see. Zebra is hot for you. You can tell me all about it when I get home. Aren't you spending the night with him? I asked. I figured with a stud like him, he'd go all night. Well, I guess I might. She hesitated. I thought I'd get home around midnight, and then we'd do our thing. You know, spicing things up. Oh wait, I slapped myself on the forehead. I forgot. Well, see you when you get there. If Zebra and I are still, banging, try to be quiet. Okay. She gave me a look and kissed me. I hope she enjoyed it. It would be the last one. I went out and got in the car. Zebra was waiting. You sure you know what you're doing, Corwin? She asked. You've been married a long time. Yes, I'm sure, I sighed. I expected you to be more upset than this, she said. After a while, you just run out of juice, I said. I was upset for a long time. I'm just sick now. Tired and sick. I just want it over. Somehow, I've lost the energy to be upset. I've cried gallons of tears, and the crying time is over. It's time to move on. Let's go get the girls. When we pulled up, the moving truck was already being loaded. The girls were carrying their clothes downstairs and packing them in big plastic tubs. We weren't taking much furniture. The bed out of the master suite, the girls' beds, their TVs and electronics, and the big screen we'd replaced 6 months ago with a bigger one. When the girls finished packing, she took them in her car and they drove to our new place. It was about as far from the old one as we could get and still be in the same school district. The guys finished packing and I took a last look around. It looked empty and silent. The ghosts of 19 years were all that remained. I sighed, took off my wedding ring, and dropped it on the kitchen table along with my cell phone. The girls' phones were already there, and it was time to go. I felt the melancholy close in. I was going out with a whimper, a few petty jabs at Amanda and Mr. Bill, and I was walking away from 19 years that had been pretty damn good. Oh well, shit happens. I locked up, loaded my tools from the garage into the back of my truck, and I was gone. The girls were pretty excited about the new place. It had a pool in the backyard, and they couldn't wait to try it out the next day. You like that, baby? I asked Audra. She said something I didn't quite catch. I had no idea what the hell she meant, but it sounded good. Cyber was there, and she still looked amazing. But if she had been Jennifer Lawrence in the flesh, I was just tired. Not that I'd prefer Jennifer Lawrence to Cyber, you understand. But you know what I mean. She sent that dazzling smile my way, gave me a quick peck on the cheek, and she was gone. The lingering smell of her perfume was the only reminder that she'd been there. She went to bed, and surprisingly, I slept. Not well, but I did sleep. The next morning, I got up and made coffee. The girls came in after a bit. We had a Danish Kringle and chocolate milk for breakfast. They watched cartoons on TV until noon, and then two gorgeous little bikini-clad bundles of energy were splashing in the pool while I sat in a lounger and watched. I wasn't really paying attention. I wondered what Mandy was doing. She'd be frantic by now. I was sure she was calling everyone she could think of, trying to figure out what had happened. She was going to have a tough time finding us. I wasn't working. I'd sold the business and made out like a bandit. The girls weren't in school. It was summer vacation. We weren't going anywhere except to the grocery store, and we walked and took a bus there. The truck was parked in the garage. I was sure she had the police looking for us, but not driving a car would complicate things. The only way she had to get in touch with us was electronically. She filled our inboxes with messages, DM'd the girls every time they signed on to social media, sent tweets and messages on Instagram. We read them but didn't respond. Let her find us the hard way. I knew she would eventually, but she had to work and pay bills. I wasn't making any payments, and if she didn't, she'd get behind in a hurry. We had a good bit of equity in the house, and I knew she wouldn't want to lose it. I guess she got desperate because a private detective approached me in the grocery store about 3 weeks later. "Mr. Decker," he asked. "Who wants to know?" I said. "Your wife hired me to find you," he said. "I'm going to tell her where you are. You should give her a call. If I see you around, I'll have you charged with stalking." I told him, "Beat it." But I wasn't about to call her. Turned out I didn't have to. The police turned up, and Mandy had handed them a line that I had kidnapped the girls. They asked me to go down to the station and sort it out. When I declined, they arrested me and hauled my ass downtown. The girls went in another car, and when we got to the station, Amanda was there. She tried to hug the girls, but they weren't interested. They pushed her away, and a woman came and got them. Amanda went into one room and I went into another. The cops started questioning me like they had it out for me. I identified myself. They already had my driver's license, and the only other words that came out of my mouth were, "I intend to remain silent, and I want to speak to an attorney." That shut them up. "He's lawyering up," I heard one of them say. They gave me a phone and I called John Trimble. He was there 45 minutes later. We had this planned. Took about 3 hours to sort everything out. The girls said they were with me because they wanted to be. There was no kidnapping, and they didn't want to speak to their mother. John took care of it from there. He pointed out that there was no court order on custody, that under Georgia law, both parents were considered equal candidates for custody, and that children over 14 could choose the parent with whom they wanted to live. They had no choice but to let us go. Sebra walked out with us, and Amanda trailed along behind, pleading with the girls to talk to her. They got in Sebra's car and drove away, leaving the two of us alone in the parking lot. Amanda was crying buckets, and she looked like a mess. She turned those forlorn eyes toward me and fell to her knees. "Kwon, for God's sake, talk to me. Please, I'm begging you." "I seem to remember begging you not to screw Mr. Bill," I said. "You didn't listen. Why should I?" "Please, Kwon, don't treat me like this," she wept. "I'm sorry, okay. Could we please just go somewhere and talk?" "Okay, let's talk," I said. "Where do you want to go?" "Home," she pleaded. "Could we please just go home? I don't want to go anywhere anyone can see me like this." "We can go to my home," I told her. "I don't have any interest in going to yours. I don't know who you've been screwing there." She gave a little wail of dismay, but she nodded her head. "Okay, Kwon, whatever you want," she said. "But it's your home, too." I wasn't going to argue with her. She wanted me to ride with her, but I wasn't about to be stuck in a car with her. I called a cab and she followed me home. The girls were with Sebra spending the night. They'd known her all their lives and they were getting very close. Amanda came in and I got her a cup of coffee. We sat at the bar and the silence stretched uncomfortably. Silence hadn't been uncomfortable between us since our third date, but it sure was now. What do you want, Kwon? She finally asked. Did I say I wanted anything? I asked. I mean, what do you want me to do? She said. What do I need to do to get you to come home? What do you want me to do so I can see the girls? Hey, I have no control over you seeing the girls, I said. This was their choice. What did you tell them? She accused. You told them something. You've been poisoning them against me. I read about this. Are you sure Marcy didn't tell you that? I asked. Her eyes dropped. Obviously, Marcy was the oracle of all wisdom. What do you want? She repeated. You know what the funny thing is? I asked. The funny thing is, I haven't said one word to them about you. The only thing I told them was I was leaving you and they needed to decide who they wanted to live with. You want to know who told them? Amanda? You did. You're the one that told them. What do you mean? She asked. I haven't said anything. When would I have said anything? Remember that night in the living room when you threatened me? I asked. I could see if she did remember. They were sitting on the stairs. They heard every word you said. Her face went pale and she started sobbing. I didn't mean it, she sobbed. I was just. She couldn't continue. Well, they think you did, I said. As a matter of fact, I think you did too. I guess the majority wins. What can I do? Her pleading was pitiful. Mine have been pitiful too. With them? I have no idea and I don't give a damn, I said. You screwed it up. You fix it. What can I do with you? She asked. Well, you could file for divorce. I don't want a divorce. I just want you to come home. I am home, I told her. I don't live with you. I'm sorry, Corwin. This was all a big mistake, she said. I never should have forced you into this. You didn't want it and I should have just accepted that. I do accept it now. Can't you just forgive me and we can just go to that marriage counselor? I'll go see a therapist. I'll do whatever you want me to. I'm sorry too, I said. The problem isn't that I didn't want it. The problem is that you did. What I want you to do is file for divorce. I'll give you a little while. In a few months, if you haven't filed, I'm going to. I want nothing to do with you, Amanda. Since you're the kind of person who could do what you did, we're done. You thought you could hold the kids over my head and force me to be a cuckold. You thought you could hold me hostage and do whatever you wanted to do. Now you've figured out that you can't do that and you've given up. Too late, Amanda. File for divorce. You bastard, she exclaimed. You stole all our money. You sold the business and our bank accounts have maybe $50,000 in them. How could you? The money you took is mine. I never touched a dime of your money, I told her. I sold the business at a huge loss because I had to do it quickly. I took only the money I earned. You know what? I don't have a dime of it left. That was all very true. It was safely stashed away in an offshore account. I had figured out that the time to do that was before the divorce. The records showed that I'd sold the business to a Danish company for less than I owed in taxes. I'd also seriously overpaid the IRS and they were keeping the money to go against future tax bills. Our brokerage accounts hadn't been touched and I knew I'd have to give half of them up. I'd started trusts for the girls and they were going to be sitting pretty. For 3 months, I'd been hitting every grocery store, Walmart and convenience store in town. I'd use my debit card and every time the machine asked me if I wanted cash back, I'd said yes. $60 and $80 a pop at all those stores, with 3 people doing it at every place in town we could, had added up pretty quickly. The great thing was all those transactions were legit. I had a huge stack of cash in an old chest in a storage building. Once the coast was clear, I'd start using it. Amanda, you have the house, I told her. We have enough equity built up for you to sell it. Get out of the mortgage and do just fine for a while. Maybe after you sell the house, you can move in with Mr. Bill. I wonder how his wife would feel about that. She gasped. I didn't know he was married. No, you didn't care that he was married. You wanted an open marriage. Maybe he has one. It's time to move on, Amanda. File for the divorce. We're done. I stood up and walked to the door. She followed, wringing her hands and crying. She stopped at the door and looked up at me. Tell the girls I love them, and I'm sorry. Will you please do that for me, Corwin? Yes, I'll tell them. I'm not going to give up, you know? I'm not filing for a divorce because I don't want one. I want you back home where you belong. I wish you were a little more open-minded, Corwin, but I see that's not possible. I never intended it to be like this. I never thought you were serious about not even trying. I still think if you would have just tried, you would have found out that you liked it, but I see now that you can't even try. I still love you in spite of that, and I'm going to keep trying. I was too tired to argue with her. I saw her out the door, took a minute to collect myself, and called Zebra. She brought the girls home, but she didn't come in. Audra and Olivia were very upset and even angrier with their mother than before, if that was possible. I knew they wouldn't be at all receptive to the message from Amanda I had for them, so I decided to just sit on it for a while. 2 days later, Amanda showed up about 4:30 with dinner. She'd made chicken tetrazzini with French-cut green beans and a big basket of garlic bread. Olivia opened the door. Amanda tried to hug her and got a stiff arm for her troubles. "Hi, baby," Amanda began. "Dad," Olivia called loudly. "You need to come out here." "Olivia," her mother started. "I'm so sorry, baby. I love you, and I've missed you so much. I just want to." Olivia shut her down. "I don't want to hear it," she yelled. "You don't do what you did to people you love. Stay the hell away from me." She stalked away, and Amanda nearly collapsed. I rescued the basket with the food in it she was carrying and pulled her over to the sofa. She sat down and buried her face in her hands. "What have I done?" she sobbed. "They hate me, Corwin. They won't even give me a chance." "Well, what you did to them was pretty hateful," I told her. "I doubt they'll ever trust you again, Amanda. It may be possible for you to build some sort of relationship with them. I won't stand in the way, but this is on you. Not them or me." I made dinner. She looked at me pleadingly. I felt sorry for her. She did it to herself, but she was hurting. I've never been one to kick stray dogs. "Let me go talk to them," I said. "Find the dishes in the kitchen, and we'll see what happens." "Thank you, Corwin. I need a tissue," she said. I got her a box and went up to talk to the girls. They were steaming. "I can't believe she just showed up here," Audrey said. "What did she think? She could feed us and then everything would be okay? She destroyed our family." "I know, kitten," I told her. "Here's the deal. She tossed in the hand grenade, and now she has to deal with the shrapnel. She still doesn't get it. She still thinks I'm the one with the problem. That's okay. I can live with that. I'm not going back to her. I want you to stay with me, but if you want to be with her, that's okay. Nothing will ever change how much I love you, too." "I'd rather hang myself," Olivia said. "We're staying with you, Dad." I hugged them up. "Do you think we could go down and eat with your mother and be civil to her?" I asked. "Do you want us to?" Olivia asked. "Yeah, I do, baby," I said. "Just don't say mean things to her. Okay? Let her know how you feel, but don't be mean. You think you can do that?" They both agreed they could, and we had the most awkward dinner in history. Amanda tried to engage the girls in conversation, and they answered, but they gave her the short version. We cleaned up, packed Amanda's dishes, and she got ready to go. "Audra, is it okay if I hug you?" she asked. "No, Amanda, it isn't. I'll talk to you if you want. But from now on, you're not my mother anymore." Both the girls then went to their rooms without another word. That just destroyed Amanda. It took her 30 minutes before she could compose herself enough to go home. She was pitiful and I pitied her, but it wasn't my fault. I loved every minute of it. She continued to come over about once a week, and the girls kept destroying her hopes. She didn't file for divorce and continued to try to talk me into moving back in with her. After 6 months, I filed. When the divorce was final, I think Amanda finally realized that we were through. The court gave her visitation rights, and somehow, anytime she wanted to visit, there was something that did not let the visit happen. I certainly hoped she found someone that suited her open life. I sure had. I am still unmarried. My life dedicated only to my girls.